back to the Mallycraft Workshop. Today, gonna be doing something a little bit different. Um, I promised the lady that I would make her a seat cover for her vehicle out of a Pendleton blanket, and I got to do some leather work on it, and I've been kind of putting it off for a while, and I've put it off long enough, so I just need to finish it, and that way she's got her nice seat cover that she wanted, and I don't have to know that I haven't done it yet anymore. So I figured, why not? Let's do a little video on it. We're going to be doing some leather work in the shop here in the future when I do the video on finishing this oar. Leather wrapping the handle on that. So if we're going to do a little leather work in the future, why not do a little bit right now, and we'll see how it turns out. It might be crap, but you know, gotta try it first. So anyway, for the Pendleton blanket that I already chose, it's laid out on the back seat. We'll go over that here in a minute. I figured out where the headrests were, and you know how much area the headrest covers, and I want to make little leather like stiffener pads where the headrests go through, and you know that way it will keep from tearing up the Pendleton wool blanket, and it'll have this nice like suede looking leather right there to kind of reinforce that area, you know, and make it's gonna make it look nice. It's gonna have like a little bit of a rugged look, you know, for her SUV. So yeah, I think it's gonna look really good. But anyway, the spots that we're gonna be putting leather on will be where the headrests go, and then where the buckles come through the seats. And I'm thinking I'm probably gonna need 2 pieces to sandwich the wool, you know, that way it's not gonna pull through the wool. This way it'll have, you know, a piece of leather. This is the wool. We'll have a piece of leather on the bottom, piece of leather on top, and then stitch the 2 together. And then we have a nice reinforced area right there for the buckles to go through, for the and for the headrest to go through. So let's get, I already cut a couple of them out. Let's finish cutting the rest of them out, and then we'll get moved over to the back seat of the SUV and figure out how we're gonna get these things installed. So all I was doing right now is just using a cardboard template. Like I said, I figured out the area that I wanted to cover with the leather and protect it from the buckles and the headrests. And then just drew that area onto a blank of cardboard, and that's what we're using right now. So the nice crisp side of the line is what we'll be cutting off. And then you're left with a nice square, neat cut piece of leather. Sharp scissors again. I can't say it enough. Sharp scissors. There is also a thing that they use for material, not just quilting, but people that work with material, you know, on the plastic cutting boards a lot. Same brand. It's Fiskars. They make a like pizza slicer blade, and they are so damn sharp. It's another thing that works good for leather. But again, you got to have sharp tools to do good work. You don't have to have sharp tools, but work isn't going to be as fine. I just know at some point, maybe not one of you watching right now, but at some point, somebody that knows what they're doing with leather is gonna see this and be like, you are a bumbling fool. But you know what? It's okay right now. I think for what this is gonna be used for I want it to look nice, obviously, but I mean, for just a back seat cover with nice little rugged patches on it, I think it's going to turn out pretty cool, especially because it is a Pendleton blanket, you know, so that those kind of go with the whole, they fit the theme, right? Gonna double all these up. These smaller pieces, I only need 2 of each. I've already got 1 and 1, so we're almost done with those, but there's only 2 spots where I have buckles going through. On top, I have 3 spots where headrests are going through. So I'm gonna need 6 of the larger pieces and then just 2 and 2 of the smaller ones there. Anytime you're cutting up material like this, no matter what it is, you know, wood, plexiglass, leather, steel, anytime you're laying stuff out on large bulk material, you know, make sure and lay it out as close as you can to each other so you have as little bit of waste. You know, like this piece that I'm going to end up with here, I could possibly use that on a handle, or, you know, if I needed to, I could get, you know, more pieces out of this and then maybe have a piece of scrap over here that I could use on something. But just try to, it's not always easy to do, but just try to think ahead when you're cutting stuff out, and you know, that's money that you can save on a different project. You know, that's always a good thing. You're always going to run out of material, so the more that you can save, better off you are. Outstanding. You know what's really missing right now is like some rocket music, but since this is YouTube, I can't play anything in the background because it's not licensed, but it'd be really cool. I don't know. If you don't like hearing me talk, throw on some Metallica in the background. That would be pretty kick-ass. Some Master and the Puppets in the back, or Master of Puppets. That's funny. Some Master of Puppets in the background. Oh yeah. That would be okay. Okay, there's 4. 2 more. All right, so we finished up cutting all those out. I didn't want to keep dragging that out for you. And then afterwards, I am going to sew these together. So it's leather, you know, it's going to be hard to poke a needle through. So there's this little tool. I am not sure what the hell this thing is called. I didn't do any kind of research. I just found out that this is what you use, and there's this cool little hammer deal. But anyway, you set this thing on the leather and whack it with your hammer, and it makes holes so you can, you know, sew stuff together and be able to pierce the leather without having to, you know, ram it through every time. So you just set this thing down. I have already got a line right here going, and I'll bring the camera over here in a second, but you just set that thing in you set the first tooth in the last hole that you made. I'll show you. And get it set, and just give it a little whack. I mean, that's it. I guess that's it. I should preface that as I take you over here to look and see what we're doing. This is the line that I made. This is the line that I just started. So you take your end tooth on this wackus and you put it in the last hole that you made. And then that's when I whacked it with the hammer. And then you just keep doing that on down. So it seems pretty easy to me. And then we'll just sew it up after that. I don't know. We'll see. See what happens. This could be crazy. We're learning together right now, I guess. Learning on the fly, school of hard knocks, whatever you want to call it. It's an adventure, right? If you let it be. Have fun with the process. Whack your thumb. Don't whack your thumb. I don't advocate whacking your thumb. Getting a little crooked with it there. Just make sure and keep your spacing to the edge the same all the way across. I just kind of got off on it there for a second. So come back and fix that. I think this is going to work good. Never tried it this way before. Seems like a pretty handy little tool. Drop a note in the comments if you know what it's called. I'll eventually Google it, but you know, for now, we know how to use it. That's the main point. We understand its purpose. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and finish these up really quick, get all of them stamped out, and we'll catch back up over at the little SUV and show you how we're going to stick these to the wool before we start sewing everything together. All right. So here we are in the SUV. What we're going to do is get our leather patches arranged up here where we want them, and then we're going to glue them in place. I'm going to use CA glue for that. CA glue tends to work really fast on organic things, so I'm thinking it's going to be a good choice for just getting the leather patches in place, and then we can pull the cover back out of the vehicle and go sew it, you know, back in the shop where the AC's on and it's not so hot out here. Whew, that would be nice. So anyway, you're just gonna, you know, figure out where your sockets are for your headrests. Just want to locate those. Get your leather patches centered over them, like so. You're going to want to make sure that they are all lined up and look decent, you know. You don't want them too far off from each other. Here's what the color looks like in the sun, in case you can't see it over there. I think it's going to be a pretty good combination of colors. I think so. Kind of liking where these are sitting right now. So let's do a little glue underneath. See if I'm right. I know it sticks to your fingers right now, so I mean, it should do pretty good with the wool and the leather, I would think. Maybe I'll get some activator. We'll see. Give that a second and see if that's going to stick. If it does, I'm going to go ahead and get them all stuck on, and we will regroup in the front part of the seat, and I'll show you where we're going to put the smaller squares for the buckles. Okay, here we are in the back seat. You noticed earlier I had the 2 different size patches. That was for a reason. On this side, there are 2 buckles, together, one for the center seat, of course. So this side has 2 buckles, and that's where we're going to use I guess this one's about a quarter of a length longer. So we'll use that on this side for the 2 buckles. And then just the single patch we'll use over here for the single buckle. And then once we get those glued on and then stitched on in a minute, we're going to go ahead and just cut the X out of the center, and that will allow the belts and everything to pass through. And it should still look pretty decent. And I don't know if I'm going to do an X yet or just a horizontal slot. We might just do the slot so it doesn't open up as much and let you see underneath. But these, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to eyeball them. I trust it. If not, if you don't want to eyeball it, or you tend to lean towards the perfectionist side and want to know that it's perfect, go ahead and throw your measuring tape across there and just make sure that everything is squared up and true and you have them equally spaced, or whatever you would like to do. But for this and for the look that I'm going for, I'm gonna eyeball them, and I think it's going to be great. So this patch is gonna need to go under a little bit, so you're gonna have to tuck it in first and then pull it back out to where it will be centered over the buckle, which is gonna be about right there. See, I love the look of that. This what is this, like a taupe color almost, I guess like a grayish kind of, but the tan buckskin against that, and then with the green and the the red and the yellow over here, looks awesome. Looks really good together. So I'm happy with that. And then once we get these stuck on, I'll just go ahead and grab the CA glue and get them tacked in place. We'll make sure those are lined up. And you can tell it's hot and humid outside today, because I'm sorry I can't quit dripping. It's disgusting. Okay, belts are centered. Those are where we like them. Let's go ahead and get them glued in. I'll meet you guys back in the shop. It's hot. One last thing. I did mention that, if you want to make sure that everything is laid out perfectly, to go ahead and stretch your measuring tape across, figure out where your ends are, how much overlap you have, all of that, like what I mean by overlap is the part that's hanging off the edge of the seat. I eyeballed both sides and just made sure they were close to the bottom of the seat, so they wouldn't look off. This way, even if they are off like a quarter of an inch, you won't really be able to tell. So, the other thing that I left out, make sure this is all tucked in nice and perfect, exactly where you want it, because once we get these leather patches on here, they're going to look really weird if they're, if it's stretched a certain way or if it's not stretched. And then when you install it, it's stretched, and now your patches, it just make it now how it's going to be when it's done. So that way, when we sew it on, they're where they're supposed to be. Very important step. Okay, we'll catch you in the shop. It's hot. Okay, so right here, I just wanted to show the quick stitching I did on the corners. This will actually, make like shoulders on the seat cover. That way, this thing will always be tailored to that seat. All right. All right, guys. We're back in the shop. Thank God that newly installed AC is so nice right now, because I swear to God, it's like, it feels like it's 97 and, I don't know, 70% humidity. It's silly right now. And I don't do that well with humidity anyway, but regardless, it's time to get these patches actually sewn on. I have them pretty much glued with CA glue all around the edges. You can see right here, they're stuck. So they're not coming off, but I don't ever want them to come off. And yeah, they're probably not gonna see like a lot of use, but I'm sure the CA glue in the wool at some point is going to separate and these are going to come off. So we're going to sew them, make sure they look really good, and we're going to have a killer looking product. I mean, this is, maybe somebody wants to buy one after I'm done. Hit me up. You never know. They're not going to be free, but who knows? Let's finish it first though. See how it looks. I got to get my needle set up. Show you how to do that with the thread. I have a little spool right there, and get a needle out of my magic box. There we go. Any old needle will work. It's fine. Just make sure it'll easily go through the holes that you made. You might want a little thinner one right there, just to make sure it goes through easily. There we go. That one's a little better. Holy cow. Pardon me. Why? Oh, my Lord, it is hot in here. I could use a mint julep. Whew. Okay. Get back to work. All right, this is just like wax thread, I guess. I don't know. It's something you can get from the leather store. I'm guessing this is what they use to sew leather together with. I don't know. Like I said, somebody that's like somebody that works with leather is going to watch this video and just tear me up in the comments. I can't wait. It's going to happen. But it's wax string. Threading a needle sometimes can be tough, just because it's a tiny hole, and if you can't see that great, it's going to be tough to line it up. Cool thing with the wax thread is it's waxed, so you can actually take the end of it right there, kind of see how it's frayed, and you can smooth that out into like a fine little tip. Hopefully you can see that, and that makes it something that you can actually put through the eye of the needle. So now that we got that one done, I'm going to pull it through there about, I don't know, a foot or so. Keeps twisting up on me. There we go. Okay, yeah. We'll pull through about a foot or so, and then we'll pull ourselves, I don't know, 2-3 feet of slack. And then we're gonna cut that off the other side. And we're gonna tie a knot in this end so it doesn't pull through from the back side. So we'll just kind of, make a knot on top of a knot kind of thing. Those knots will keep piling up on each other, and you'll end up with a good little ball, and that will not pull through your leather. Wow, I can't tie a knot right now to save my life. Okay, there we go. Save me. Okay, we got a couple in there. Like I said, we have our patches glued down already. I kind of have one placed in the back. almost where it should be. Um, Roll up your edges, you know, that way you can, you're gonna have to be going back and forth from the top to the bottom quite a bit. You're gonna put your needle through, pull it, put it back through, and yeah, you're gonna make a little stitch. I'm just gonna do like a, I think it's just called a half hitch or something. You're gonna go through, come back up, go through your little loop, and then go back. Yeah, you'll see. It'll work good. Really, I don't know what the stitch is called, but yeah, like I said, somebody will figure it out for me. Just trying to get my first holes lined up right there, so my squares will be the same. Okay, I'm gonna get that pulled through. Okay, see that? That knot right there is gonna keep us from pulling through. So we're gonna go over, let's see, no, how do we wanna do this? We're gonna go halfway in between the next hole, go over the edge, I think. Let's see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'm really just gonna go with whatever stitch looks best. Again, I don't know what they're called. I'm not gonna pretend to know. Okay, there's the first one. Then go through the second hole. Line that up with your second hole on top. It's like a lot of trial and error. Trying to figure out where you're at. But you can do this, I promise. Okay, we have our second one through there. We're good to go. That patch is well on its way to being in the right spot. So here's what I'm gonna try. I just pulled up, so I'm on my upstroke. I'm gonna go back through my first stitch, okay? Like this. And then I'm gonna go over again, sorry. Perspiration break. Wow, I'm dripping on the work spot now. Okay, anyway, I went back through my first loop. Now I'm gonna skip ahead to halfway in between my last upstroke and my new hole. Then I'm gonna go down through, go through to the back side, make sure that's on the outside of your leather, okay? Because it's on the outside of the leather up here, so you wanna be on the outside of the leather on the bottom. Right there, where we're at. See that? Perfect. Now we'll find this hole right here, find the top hole. Okay. Pull all the way up through. And I'm gonna come get my, let's see. Okay, now I need to, yeah, I'm on my upstroke. So now this one, I skip ahead halfway in between the holes. Make sure it's on the outside of my leather down there. Pull it through. I don't know why I'm talking so loud. I think I'm like trying to concentrate really hard. So let's go through that hole. Find your hole on top. Okay, There we go. That one took a minute. I think I got a little bit of glue in that hole, so it was kind of a pain to poke through for a second. All right. This is going well. Like I said, I know there's a name for this stitch. It's not like I'm making one up. Somebody else has already used this somewhere, and they've either said it was great or it was shit. So, get creative. Get on Google. I don't know. Look up different stitches that you can use, and like I said, it's all about your creativity and what you want the design to look like. I'm gonna keep going with this one and see what it looks like, after 3-4 of these stitches. I didn't really realize this would end up looking like a skip, but it's doing okay. You all have got the hang of it for now. I'm just gonna go ahead and let the music play, and you all can enjoy and see what happens. We'll speed it up a little bit.
Balls were flashing like sirens in the night. Noise in the void, no clarity in sight. Echo chambers ringing louder than before. Promises whispered behind the liberal door. Media feeds playing their own games. Fractured truths, everyone's to blame. Ignored the shadows creeping from the ground. And here we are now, the king with his crown. This is the pulse of the divide, crashing like waves in the tide. Fear and fire, the game rewired. The unheard screamed and the empire's word. Blue collar cries meet silent despair. Deserts of truth turn to fights unfair. Every vote a spark in the wildfire's haze. Burning bridges, nights turn to days. Algorithms feeding the hunger for war. Windows and walls, what are we fighting for? Misconnections and dissonance reign. The popular smoke through collective pain. Behind the scenes, the puppets rise. Strings of gold, the truth disguised. Through the chaos, one voice found. A mirror's reflection of lost ground. This is the pulse of the divide, crashing like waves in the tide. Fear and fire, the game rewired. The unheard screamed and the empire's word. History written in binary lines, clicks and choices erasing signs. Who can stand when the ground's caving in? The truth is the war that no one can win. This is the pulse of the divide, the scream of a nation too tired to hide. Heavy boots march on fractured ground. Trumpets blare with the victory sound.
Okay, so after about what seems like 12 hours, I have finally sewed on all of the patches for this seat cover. Now, what we're going to do is go install this thing. I'm going to make a couple cuts in this, knock out a couple holes up here where the headrests go through, and yeah, we're going to go put this in the car. I want to show you what it looks like, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it up to this point. This was a lot of work, but I definitely think it's going to be worth it. So yeah, we'll see you in the vehicle here in a second. All right. All right. If you've hung in this far, you know what it took to get here. So yeah, this is super exciting. This is like the moment of truth. So let's find out what this thing's gonna look like. I don't know, can't remember if I said or not, but I did sew up the corners on what was overlapped on either side. So like the shoulders of the seat have been sewn up. So this thing is now like tailored perfectly to fit these seats. So God, yeah, I'm so nervous to find out if this worked or not. So that should just slide over there like a hoodie, kinda. Okay, it's kind of taking shape. Let's see. Try to get everything tucked in, right? Put back to where it was. Okay, let's see. Holy cow, this is crazy. Definitely a new one for me. I will have to cut my seat holes just a little bit bigger, but other than that, they're in the right spot. They look pretty well centered over the buckles. Guys, I think it's working really well so far. I'm going to go ahead and shut it off here, and all I have to do now is just put the headrests in. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish that up. I'll include the finished pictures at the end of the video here, and you guys are awesome. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you are inspired to make one yourself, or do something just as creative. Y'all have a good one. We'll catch you next video. All right, thanks.